I want to actually start with this idea of the citizen artist. Both Vijay and Camille are recent Citizen Artist Fellows of the Kennedy Center, which is itself a relatively recent program that great institution has kicked off around the country. And so you, more than most, have actually thought about what that term means, right? But I'm curious for folks here who've maybe been hearing me and Damien use this language, or Yo-Yo Ma in past years on the stage, what does it actually mean to you? What is a citizen artist? Start with you, Camille.
You know, I guess I would maybe start by saying there's nothing new under the sun. This is not new. In fact, this is the oldest of the old. This is returning art to the role of us around the campfire, I think, in a lot of ways, which is to say, you know, something that addresses soul and very directly without, you know, without any barriers to entry. I sometimes use the phrase radical welcome. So citizen artistry is about art for all, and it's about using art's power to transform institutions, individuals, our world.
And that's so palpable in just what we saw from the work of Sing for Hope and the Pianos Project, but even more broadly, just the way that you carry yourself in this work. There's a spirit of radical welcome, in a sense that anybody can own this spirit, right?
You know, I have to say, I'm so deeply grateful for the thought leaders in this space and for this literal space to share these ideas, because I have to say, for me, since I was 2 years old, all I wanted to do was sing. But I also had these enormous questions about, you know, what does it mean to lock yourself in a practice room and focus for 8 hours on an F sharp when the world is falling around you? You know, I mean, it could feel very kind of insular. And so I personally am just so grateful for this kind of work, because I think all of us who are drawn to the arts, we're drawn because we believe in truth and light, and we want that raw, immediate connection. And I know of no better way to deliver it than through this work. And then I do feel lucky because it dovetails back into my traditional concert hall life in really empowering ways.
I'll come back in a little while to the idea of being locked in a room with an F sharp for 8 hours. But Vijay, for you, how do you define the idea of the citizen artist?
In my mind, it's the role of the artist to be a bridge. We are a cultural broker. We are a communicator across spaces. I spend most of my mornings and evenings on stage at Walt Disney Concert Hall with the LA Philharmonic. But most of my afternoons I am in Skid Row or in one of the 5 LA County jails. And for me, that, you know, being stuck in LA traffic, that drive back and forth between these places, that's exactly the work of the citizen artist. Because it's our job to be that translator and communicator. But the other word that I think about is power. Right, and one thing that we've been very lucky to learn from you, Eric, is these sort of principles around power that, yes, power accumulates at the top, and yes, power justifies itself, and power is infinite. And so the thing that we are focusing on in the work of Street Symphony is also, how do we give away and share our power? Because our job in the very beginning was in this mode of outreach, where we literally sat on the stage and we would play for mostly poor people of color living in Skid Row, and we'd say, this is great music, you should love it. And then we would hear, you would have audience members raise their hands, and we would, you know, we classical musicians would go, whoa, 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 I did not sign up for human contact, right? And instead, our audiences would ask us stories about why we loved this music and what were the stories of these composers. And, you know, the Messiah Project is an idea that actually emerged from a member of the Skid Row community. When we actually let ourselves step out of the center and give away our power, we welcome in not only vibrancy and the incredible resilience, but we're also creating a pathway from arts engagement to civic engagement. Because the other thing I just want to put a button on this is with the 3 members of the Skid Row community who you saw in this video, Ben Shirley. I actually just was lucky enough to offer Ben a job in Street Symphony last week, so we literally have hired him to be our new composer fellow. So we actually want to create pathways to hire formerly and currently homeless and incarcerated people. But also, Brian and Christina have gone on to be supported and ask for support in the community that they helped create. Right? So in a sense, it's also our job to hold the container and be the witness to the power of what people can step into when they're given that chance.